Hello everyone and welcome back to Peter's History. Today we're going over Prohibition in the 1920s and organized crime. So if you're ready to get them brain cow's milk, let's get right into it. First we need to talk about just what Prohibition was. Prohibition was the 18th Amendment to the Constitution added in 1919, which prohibited the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors or alcohol in the U.S. The amendment defined intoxicating liquors as anything containing more than 0.5% alcohol. The Volstead Act, also passed in 1919 by Congress, enforced prohibition by tasking the Internal Revenue Service, or IRS, to enforce prohibition laws. This led to the creation of a prohibition unit, which later became the Bureau of Prohibition. Now that we've defined prohibition, let's talk about the public response to this. Bootlegging is defined as the process of illegally transporting or the selling of alcohol. Bootlegging became a very lucrative industry and helped unify crime syndicates, creating the rise of organized crime. Now, when talking about organized crime, there's a few major figures you should know. Al Capone was a Chicago crime boss. He started out in the James Street Boys gang with his mentor Johnny Torrio. He later joined the 5 Point gang at 16. Before the age of 21, he gained the nickname Scarface in a scuffle at Harvard Inn. He also committed several other violent crimes during this time. Soon after this, he moved to Chicago. Soon after he moved to Chicago, Prohibition began and bootlegging became profitable. St. Valentine's Day Massacre is suspected to be organized by Capone. This was when 7 gang associates were gunned down in a Chicago warehouse by 4 men posing as police. Capone and Torrio committed several murders as retribution against rival gangs. Torrio eventually retired and Capone became the Tsar of Chicago. He was sent to prison on October 17, 1931 for tax evasion and conspiracy against prohibition laws. He died of a heart attack in 1947. Another important figure in the organized crime scene is Lucky Luciano, an Italian mobster of New York during the Prohibition era. Los Angeles was also heavily involved, but it was not as prominent as Chicago or New York, but definitely a major city in the bootlegging business during Prohibition. These businesses were helped by speakeasies where they could sell their bootlegged alcohol. In response to the rise of organized crime, the government became increasingly active through raids and seizures. Illegal establishments such as the speakeasies were raided. Individuals were arrested such as Al Capone, and stills that produced bootleg alcohol were smashed as a physical demonstration of the government efforts. The Coast Guard got involved in smuggling that was happening in the waters. In 1929, the formation of the Department of Justice marked the shifting of responsibility for prohibition enforcement. They sent government inspectors and officials to investigate suspicious activity, but were often bribed by crime syndicates, which made combating bootlegging much harder. Prohibition was ultimately repealed in 1933. Alright, that's what you need to know about Prohibition, organized crime, and government response. If you need any more help with the APUSH history curriculum, check out the Real Heimler's History channel. Also, if you want me to keep making these videos, go subscribe to Heimler's History. Frick out.
Callum L. You've helped me tremendously through APUSH, and I appreciate you. Shout out to Mr. Burt, the GOAT at LBHS. Thank you, Heimler.
Amendment, which was an amendment to the Constitution in 1919, which was an amendment.
Shut up!
Can you fix that? 1929, the formation of the tasking. Can you do it again? Laws. This led to the creation of a prohibition unit, which later became the Bureau of Prohibition. Okay. You pause. Points game it. Okay. Prohibition began, where several. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre. The St. Valentine's and the Tsar of and conspiracy became the Tsar of Chicago. Scroll. You can cut that.
Okay.
That's such happenings in the waters. Mark the shifting of a crime syndicate. Often bribed by. If you need any more help with the U.S. history curriculum, also if you want to keep making these videos. Also, if you want me to keep making these videos, go subscribe to Heimler's video.